Welcome, welcome, educators and friends. Uh, I am happy to be here today. This is vacation time, and I am excited to be here, ready to go someplace, but I am actually excited to be here. Uh, Again, I am Ronnette Branham, host of Empowered Educators podcast under the umbrella of Educators with Oil. That is still not going to change. We have our same email address, Educators with Oil, same link on Facebook, YouTube, um, also Instagram. So I just want to see. Um, just trying to check for a second because I know again this is new to me going on uh, Instagram. Let me make sure my phone is turned down. So today we're going to talk about teaching with. we're going to talk about teaching with um, emotional intelligence. So I have had to come to some realizations about that. I was having some issues and have had in the past some issues where it's like the students are triggering me and seeing if I have any emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence, that's talking about when we come talking about emotional intelligence. Hi, Alexis. We're going to talk about emotional intelligence today. And so with that comes with emotional intelligence, it's talking about, being self-aware and reflection and emotional regulation and stress management, empathy. So yes, I'm on YouTube. I'm just trying out this Instagram. I'm trying it out. This is my second time. Last week I tried it. So I said, let me just go ahead and do it and um see how that works. So yeah, I'm on both. So my other platforms, the YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, they have like any kind of notes or things on it. This is just I'm trying. So yeah, so I just want to talk about that emotional intelligence. Sometimes we get upset with our students for acting out. Like if they're frustrated, they may not have the words or the capacity to handle a situation. I had a student before where the student, she would tear up my classroom. She would do things. Math, I had her kind of good where she didn't really know math, but she could do. I had a way she could figure out how to subtract with math using manipulatives and drawings. So, but when it came to reading, she's like, I can't read. So when it's time to read, she would be destroying things. She wouldn't come with the group. She would be frustrated coming in the classroom. Then she would act out, and that comes with not having the words or the capacity, the understanding of emotional intelligence. So that's where my emotional intelligence came in. How much do I have my emotions under control? Am I self-aware of what's happening with me and my emotions? And so I was talking to one second. I was talking to my principal, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And she's like, well, she can't destroy your classroom. She's not going to disrupt the classroom. So I didn't know what to do. So once she said that, we were talking and talking. Then I'm the type, if you blame me, I'm gonna get on it. You blame me, it can't be my fault. So I'm like, nobody else acts like that. So and then I'm like, I don't believe that she never acted like that before. And I'm finding out different things, different reasons why she probably didn't. And then my boss said, well, because when students come to your class, you're not sitting here and doing nothing. And then other people may or may not, I'm not sure because I'm not in anybody's class, let a child sit and do nothing. Because my motto is we work hard, then you relax and play or whatever you want to do, and then we work hard So we do literacy work, get rigorous instruction, and then we relax and play. You do whatever you want to do. You could draw, you get on your computer, you could write, you could play a game. I have all kind of activities. And then when we do math, same thing. So I can't see you, and that's true. I didn't know she understood that about me. That you're not coming in my classroom and you're just sitting doing nothing, and you're drawing and scribbling. That's not how it works. It doesn't work like that. So I just can't see it. So when I she said that. So I'm like, okay, it's my fault. Watch this. I'm gonna figure this thing out. I'm gonna understand it and I'm gonna figure it out. So I had to get and figure out, okay, she has a problem reading. She keeps telling me she can't read. So she has a problem reading. So let's figure this out. Let's get into this because she doesn't understand. Miss Branham, I can't. Oh, we have a poor connection. She doesn't understand. I'm acting out because I'm frustrated because I can't read and other students are reading. She doesn't understand that. So I had to figure, okay, let me find out what she could do. Why would I have a poor connection? Oh, probably because everybody's on some kind of device. Oh, yeah. So she could understand that. I had to sit back and see, well, what is it that I can do to help this student? I got to be able to help her, right? So I said, okay, let me see. Let me have her in a small group on her own, just me and her. Again, with literacy. I used to do that. And then something happened with our dynamics. So then I sat with her. I tried to read a book with her. She's like, I can't do that. So then I remembered about a program, Starfall, that helps with the reading. You go over sounds like at and then you go over those practice those like pat, cat, sat, whatever. And then if it's pan, man, can, things like that. And then you end up reading a book. So the book you do two little lessons, then you read the book because once you learn these words, you can read the book. So I found out she got happy with that. She's excited about that. She's able to um, have some wins, have some successes. So I had to face my own challenges with my own emotional intelligence. How are you going to act? So she's going to frustrate you. Now you're frustrated. Now you're like, that is not working because you just can't. I never put kids out, but this was too much. But I didn't know how to handle it because she was triggering me and I'm frustrated. She's frustrated. Everybody's frustrated. So just having part of emotional intelligence with our students is having that empathy, understanding, trying to figure out where they're coming from, what it is that they are struggling with, because students are struggling. They're struggling with things. And so it's like we have to figure it out. We definitely have to figure it out. And so I was able to figure it out and learn what her issues were. And now she's happy. She's in the class. She's not acting up. She's not throwing things. She's not having tantrums. So we have different. Oh, I have to stay over here, huh? So we have different things different strategies. We have to improve our communication skills. We have to be clear, respectful, empathetic, and we have to learn to express our we have to learn to express ourselves assertively, to resolve conflict constructively. We can't have a tantrum along with our students because that's not going to work. We have to uh, be self-aware of what's happening. What is this doing in me? This situation, how is it causing me to react? Is it a trigger for me where I get to acting out or get stubborn and like I'm not dealing with this? That can happen because we have students. You see teachers, you see all this TikTok and things where the teacher got fed up. The teacher was fed up, but we can't. We have to walk in this in high emotional IQ. We just can't. Um, this is going on and off. I guess when you have a lot of people online, maybe I take off the Wi-Fi. Yeah, I take off the Wi-Fi. Let me see. Um, Wi-Fi. I don't need Wi-Fi on here. Yeah. Now where's my Instagram? Okay. So now this should work. Yeah, that's I'm not gonna have that problem again going on and off because I took the Wi-Fi off my iPad. So we just have to model. That's one thing I do know. We have to model, and I learned something today about 10x, and this is a book that we were going to read in our book read, our live book read about 10x. And so I'm learning some things. I'm learning to see what your goal is, and hone in on that goal, not trying to paint a broad brush. Okay, we're going to do this, that, and the other, you know, and then you may not reach your mark. You may only reach a little bit. So if you focus on that goal for today, I'm we can start with being self-aware. Today I'm going to be self-aware. I'm going to be, I'm going to understand my emotions today. I'm going to I'm going to engage in practices of mindfulness. I'm going to reflect on what's happening. I'm going to understand my triggers and my biases if I have any. You know, I'm going to do that. And so that is something that helps. Once we learn how to practice that, we can practice that. That could be our goal for today. And then tomorrow, we'll learn how to teach using that. We'll learn how to teach being mindful and self aware and of our triggers, of our biases, because we may not understand. We may have students who we think they have no help at home, or they come from a certain type of background, or they may be we think they have everything and we don't feel like we should help them. We sometimes we have biases like that. And it's just that we have to be aware of those things. That way we can teach. So once we practice that mindfulness, then we go in the next day and then we say we're going to teach being aware of that. And then if a student says something and we feel a certain way, see how you feel and say, oh, that's that. I'm going to still accomplish my goal. My goal is today to educate my students. In literacy, we're going to talk about poetry. And math, we're going to talk about grouping, like arrays or something like that. And focus on that. And at the same time, when students are not doing or they are doing, because, I get excited. You can see it on my face when the students are following directions and learning and actually getting it and engaged in our studies. I get excited about that. So that's something we could do. And then if we model it, our students will understand. So the next day might be that you not so much ignore the misbehavior of a student, but you focus on the good, or, the positive. Positive meaning, I said it before, positive to me is something that's going in the direction that you're aiming for. So if you are trying to have your students all read quietly for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever that is, that their time, drop everything and read, if we do that still. um, if you do that, so you have that their time, everybody's quietly reading, and then a student is not, then you will focus on the ones who are doing the positive thing, and then you acknowledge them for that, and you say, oh, I love the way so and so is reading. Or if you have high school students and they're working on a project, and then you might join in their conversation and say, oh, so ask them some questions about their project, show some interest in their projects. That way, the students will see how you're reacting and not how you're responding and not reacting to that behavior. Sometimes you just have to not say anything, but absolutely focus on what the goal is. If the goal is for everybody to read, everybody to practice their math, work on that. Focus on that goal. And then um, we talk about the social emotional learning. We always talk about that. That's something we're supposed to be working on every day. That's an initiative. I don't know where it came from, but it's the Department of Education, I believe. And they're always talking about that. So it could be incorporated in this. And it is actually, when you're talking about emotional intelligence, how emotional intelligent are you? And then also, if you focus on what the students are the negative of what they're doing, opposite of what they should, then you could see, you can focus on that, and you can see when their emotions are high, their logical thinking goes out the door somewhere. You know, when just watch it. Like I said, I had a student, she just was destroying things, and she was having a fit. The more I concentrated on that, the worse she got. She couldn't even think. And I tried to talk to you, want me to help you. She didn't want anything. She just wanted her logic went out the window. And that goes with us. When you get really angry and you start flipping or saying things, you don't even think logically anymore. It doesn't even, we're not doing that. So that's just something that we could um, focus on. And then having that empathy and cooperation and conflict resolution. That's something that we could work on with our students, and then help them self regulate. If you help your students self regulate, you know, some people do breathing, some people don't. I never. I think I do. I actually do, but it's not like um. I take deep breaths, and then I stand and I try to relax, try to refocus my energy. So we could do that, and we could talk about stress management before it gets to an escalated event. You know, so we just want to remember we just want to remember that our students may not have a high emotional intelligence. They may not have the tools to self regulate or to understand what's happening. They know they're frustrated and this is what they're doing. They may not understand. So what it is, we have to practice, and then the students can follow. We have to model, and then our students will understand. Oh, this is how you behave. So I talk to my students. I actually do. Um, so we just have to understand that emotional intelligence refers to the ability to recognize, understand, manage, and express emotions effectively in oneself and others. So we have to be able to recognize and understand others' emotions, how they're acting, why are they behaving this way. We just have to be ready, be aware, recognize in ourselves, because like I said, we could get so frustrated with our students where we lose our logical thinking. We lower the logical thinking and become all emotional. So we just can't be acting out in school. We have to be self-aware. Um, and again, uh, so we have to recognize our own emotions, others' emotions, moods, strengths, weakness, values, and motivation. So in ourselves, we have to be self-aware. I know I said that. Also, self-regulation. We have to know how to self-regulate, because how are we going to ask our students to stop kicking things and stomping around, and we are doing the same thing? We have to self-regulate and model those behaviors. Have techniques, stress management, again, impulse control, adaptability, resilience. We have to be resilient. Again, empathy, social skills. Is this socially productive to act out and have outbursts? It's not. We have to talk about conflict resolution and teamwork with our students. And remember to hone in on the components of emotional intelligence. Individuals can enhance their personal and professional relationships, make informed decisions, manage conflict effectively, and create a positive impact in their personal and professional lives. That's what I just said, that you can think logically when you are emotionally aware. When you're self aware of what's happening, what kind of feelings you're having. That is something, um, and we can cultivate it. Using mindfulness, reflection. Always reflect. If something happened the next day, you go back and try again, because that's what I had to do. I know my principal said it's probably me, and I'm like, oh, it's not me, because then I had to reflect. Okay, so what could I do different? What could I do differently that will help? De-escalate situation. Should I be getting angry too? No. No, that's not going to work. Plus, that's frustrating to me. for me to be in a classroom all upset and frustrated. Then I get tense. It's not a good feeling. And I don't like that. So, so we all could benefit from regular self reflection. And that professionally and personally. I'm learning some things. I'm learning how to be quiet. I'm learning how to change the subject. I'm learning that. You focus on something else of where I want to go. It it's a challenge sometimes. People say things, or you take people say things and you make aside a meaning to it. You know, this is what they meant by that. They could have been joking. They could have really meant that what you think, but they could have not. We don't know what somebody's thinking. So that's just something that we need to, and we could cultivate the emotional intelligence with our students by teaching students to identify and label, their emotions. You seem to be bothered today. Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you angry? Are you frustrated? And we could discuss what those things mean, what those titles mean, you know, and we could teach them. Maybe they could write about things. They could write things out. We could do group activities and discussions. They have something, I forgot what it was called. It was called like a collective. Let me see if I have it in my notes. Where the something happens, some kind of conflict happens, and you get in a group and you discuss what will be the conflict resolution. How do you solve this as a group, as a whole class, as a grade level, whatever, wherever the situation happens. Um, and who are involved, who are the stakeholders. So I just want to say, I don't want to stay long. I'm going to stay till 6:30. I have a class that's happening right now, but this is my time, so I'll just uh so I just want to encourage everybody to prioritize our own emotional intelligence. We have to do that and prioritize it. So we need to do that. Emotional intelligence plays crucial roles in us building positive relationships. You already know, with our students, our coworkers, our administration. Um, it helps with classroom management. It helps to understand our students because we are self-aware. We can see, oh, they're a little off today. Let's see what we can do. Let's discuss it with them, or let's try to get them to refocus. It will enhance our communication because we're aware of what's happening in the now as opposed to uh, some other time. And it help with our stress management. It will de-escalate our own emotions if we are self-aware. That is something. And then again, we have to model our behavior for our students. What we want to be positive role models so we can demonstrate self-awareness, emotional regulation, interpersonal skills, um, by modeling healthy emotional intelligence, inspire students to develop their own emotional intelligence and being self-aware and having empathy for others. Um, and then, we're always talking about that social emotional learning. We have different strategies, self-management. We have different things where we're talking about relaxing, and we have a quiet corner, and we're discussing things that we can and or that we should do that might help us if we come in and we check that we're good, ready to work. But what if we check that we're antsy, that we're frustrated? As soon as we come in, we check our emotions as that. How could we help that student that day? That's something that we could discuss as a classroom. We do that first thing in the morning. Sometimes I put on those social emotional videos. Sometimes we just have a discussion. Sometimes we play games where we are um, putting on happy feet, sad feet, happy hands, that kind of things. Or we put a cake in the middle where we're angry with the cake, we're happy with the cake, things like that. So we're excited to see the cake, different things, and we see what kind of emotions um, we have, or how those emotions are represented in our lives, how they are showing forth. Sometimes we don't even know. And then sometimes if we're angry, we don't know how to behave, how we should look angry, how we should behave when we're angry. But students, sometimes they don't know this is what they are, or this is why they are, whatever it is. So we have to teach about that regulation, emotional regulation, teach social skills. Like I said, we will have kids, we see this stuff where kids are throwing things. We have kids where they want to fight somebody because somebody said something, or that the kids are kicking things. I know a child, she would kick stuff. She would push the desk and be all upset about something. And I'm talking to her, is that helping anything? I don't think that's helping anything. So just something that we have to continuously learn. We have to learn continuously. Go to every workshop. Look, I have some uh resources at the end as soon as I get finished. But again, by focusing on self-awareness, emotion regulation, empathy, effective communication, social skills, and continuous learning, teachers can cultivate their own emotional intelligence and create a positive impact on our students and our students' academic achievements, well-being, and overall success. And that's our job. That's what we're here for. That's what we want to do. So again, that's what I said. I learned about that 10x. Think about what your goal is. Your goal today is to teach this math lesson. I want to teach them multiplication. I want to teach them division. I want to teach them how to read this poetry and understand line by line and how it's written. Is it a thin poem or a wide poem? Does it have how many stanzas? That kind of thing. Does it have rhyming? I want to teach that. That's my goal today. But if I focus on everything else outside of that, I'm going to miss my mark. And I'm not going to master, I'm not going to achieve my goal. So we have to practice this self-awareness, become highly emotionally intelligent, understanding our emotions, understanding where we are and how we're feeling and how we should express that socially and even and inside, because being frustrated, you can't even function. So how are you going to teach a student you're all frustrated because they're upset? We have to watch that trigger. Is that going to trigger us because our students are upset? Let's refocus. Our goal is to teach this lesson. Let's focus on that. Then we'll reach our goal. But if today we're talking about self-awareness, we're talking about emotional intelligence, focus on that during the day as you're teaching. Watch the students, see if anything is triggering you. And like I said, I had to do it when all you have to do is tell me something is my fault. That's all you have to do. You say it's my fault, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna work on it, say, oh, it's my fault, watch this. And I'm gonna figure it out. Okay. That means I need to do something different. I need to do something different, something differently, do it a different, whole different way, come from it, have some empathy, say, okay, so this child can't handle this, me talking like this, me just teaching and expecting them to learn, then that means I have to individualize it, differentiate. So I'm going to call this person over when everybody else is doing something else. We're going to work on these skills. And that is something I had to learn. I didn't have to learn. I've been doing it. But once I got frustrated with this situation, oh, she is frustrated. She's angry because she can't do what the other students are, she thinks they're doing, So let me break it down to her level. Let me sit. We're going to do it together. And then first she was frustrated. She's like, I can't do that. I can't do it. And then, yes, you can. Let's try it. And then we tried and we worked on it. And she's happy. She's smiling. She's excited. But I thought you said you couldn't read. You're reading. It maybe not be second grade level, but she's reading and she's happy. She's having success. And that is where you want your students. So that's what. So I just want to say, remember, start with creating a safe environment for our students, supportive classroom, and that where they feel comfortable expressing themselves. Because sometimes they don't want to tell you anything. I know that student don't tell me anything. Leave me alone, and I'm gonna throw this like that. So, again, strategies that foster emotional intelligence. They might include being culturally responsive. You know, having teaching practices that address, the culture that you're in. You may be in one of those high society schools. You may be in an urban school. You may be in a school in a low where most of the students have low economic status. You don't know. You have to be culturally aware. And then differentiating again instruction, have individualized support for each student. That's what we have to do, and then we have to be able to manage our own emotions. You have to take, I don't care if you have to take a week and say, okay, this is what I'm doing today. This is what I'm focusing on. I'm going to 10x this. I'm going to be 10 times better at working on my emotions than on anything else. So that is something um, that we need to focus on. How did that leave? Um, so then again, get support from our get support from your management, your administration. I just got lost because something just happened and I don't know what. So hope I'm still there. I guess I am. I'm here live on Instagram anyway. So okay. Um So I have there's always resources. Educators may have some books, workshops, there are online courses, SEL programs that we have, different things. So there's some websites with some online platforms. I guess I should have typed it in there. Cause I don't know if it's called Case Collaborative and Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning. That site, they provide resources. Edutopia has articles and videos. Um, Coursera, I went to Coursera before. Coursera has online courses on emotional intelligence and SEL communication skills. edX provides courses on emotional intelligence, mindfulness, social skills. Teachstone offers resources and training for educators focused on social emotional development and classroom interaction. There's some books, Emotional Intelligence 2.0 by Travis Bradbury. The Emotionally Intelligent Teacher by William Powell. Teaching with Emotional Intelligence, a step-by-step guide for higher. Let me see. Let me exactly what this is. Teaching with Emotional Intelligence, step-by-step guide for higher and further education professionals. Mindful Teaching and Teaching Mindfulness, a guide for anyone who teaches anything by Deborah Scorberline. Then there's organizations, ASCD. Then there's NACE, National Association for Education of Young Children. NEA, National Education Association. They all have workshop and courses for us. We all know that. Then there's a lot of podcasts and webinars out there. You just Google Ed Search Podcast, Harvard Graduate School of Education. And then always go to your district and you could find local resources. By utilizing these resources, teachers can engage in a continuous learning, stay updated with the best practices, and enhance their skills in emotional intelligence, social emotional learning, and in interpersonal communication, ultimately benefiting their teaching practice and student outcomes. And that's what we want to do. So just remember, you could always Google books, and I named a few: emotional intelligent teacher, teaching with emotional intelligence, mindful teaching and teaching mindfulness. These are just places. Ed Search Podcast, um, Empowered Educators Podcast. That's us right here. Yeah, and then NACE. You go to their website. You could go to National Education Association website. And remember also, this is one thing that you have to remember, so you won't get so upset with your students, is that when your emotions are high, you know that that decreases the level of that. That's the same thing as saying you have a decreased level of emotional intelligence. And that when you do that, that's when your logic goes out the window. So if the student's logic is out the window and your logic is out the window, it's not going to be a good day. So we have to watch our triggers. That's why I said spend a day focusing on, honing on, 10x that. When I said 10x, be 10 times better at something. And your focus, let it be your emotional intelligence. You still got to teach a lesson, but your focus this day, or this week should be focusing on your emotional intelligence and seeing if you have triggers, see if you have biases, see if what makes you really excited. Because math, my students are excelling in math. You can see it when we're doing science. You can see it in my face. My students know they love math and science because of me. And then when I have a student who's reading who couldn't read, I get excited and I help them be excited. So spend a week doing that. I know it's the end of the year, but sometimes we kids have frustrated us all year, and our logic went out the window. Our emotional intelligence is very low, and so we can practice that. And then the next week, when you're teaching, focus on that goal. Teach that math lesson, and then work on that math lesson, and then you'll be aware. You'll be self-aware. I promise you, because that is what I did. Once I said, like I said, somebody said maybe it's me, I'm the problem, why my students acting like they're acting, and I want to prove no. And then I said, okay, let me look, maybe it is me. So then I went and I changed my focus, and I try to see where I can help that student and how I can help the student. The student has success after that. She's happy, I'm happy, we're just happy. She's not frustrated and want to leave the classroom. So again, um, I'm Ronnette Branham, offering effective offering. Let me see. My mission is to empower educators worldwide by providing them with the knowledge, resources, and inspiration they need to excel in their profession. We believe that every educator has the potential to make a significant impact on the lives of their students, and our goal is to support them on their journey to success. Through insightful discussion, practical tips, and uplifting stories, we aim to create a vibrant community where educators can learn, grow, and thrive together. Join us as we embark on a mission to empower educators and enrich the future of education. Thank you for tuning in. I am again Ronnette Branham at Empower Educators, where our motto is empowering educators, enriching lives. Thank you and have a blessed day. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it.